Let's talk Georgia Bulldog recruiting as the Dogs are taking a trip down to Atlanta to play Clemson. Yeah, it's a neutral site game. It's a recruiting channel, but recruits are still allowed to attend. So Georgia going to host a ton of recruits, and that's how you start your season. Speaking of starting the season, it's about to begin. So are you locked into Prize Picks? I loved it last season. Super easy. Select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. That's all you got to do. This is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Prize Picks. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. That's what I did. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. This week's on Prize Picks. Here's who I'm going with. Saquon Barkley for more than 60 yards. Patrick Mahomes, I like this pick, more than 2 passing touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, I got him for more than 3 passing touchdowns. Also, taking Odell Beckham Jr. for more than 50 yards. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts. Who doesn't love Taco Tuesday on Prize Picks? They also offer Apple Pay for quick, easy deposits right into your account this football season. Prize Picks. Here's what we're going to do. Go to prizepicks.com/inside scoop and use code inside scoop to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. So prizepicks.com/inside scoop. Promo code Inside Scoop, and that's going to get you $50 on a $5 lineup. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, let's bring in the great Rusty Mansell of DawgsHQ. Rusty, does UGA and Clemson, do those recruits, do they sit in different sections? How's this neutral site game visit work?
First of all, you had me at tacos with that inside scoop, so I'm writing that down right now for Prize Picks. But listen, this is very limited. It's a neutral site game, so it's not typically Georgia would have, I think, around 400 total tickets for a home game for recruits. Damn. This is a neutral site game, so I believe it's about 100 prospects and a guest. They will not be on the field. They will sit in separate sections. You will go as a guest of Georgia, or you will go as a guest of Clemson. Those guys are just afforded the opportunity to go sit into the bleachers and watch the game. This is not your typical, unofficial visit, but it is a great opportunity for those kids to sit in that environment and watch a game. Georgia definitely has a star-studded list on Saturday.
Yeah, Kirby's been kind of vocal at times about these neutral site games because it takes away a big visit opportunity. Do you think, even though it's in Atlanta, do you think Kirby would rather play this game in Athens just from the recruiting perspective alone?
Not this one, because this is that first game of the year and you get that national publicity. He did it at Alabama with Nick Saban, doing that neutral site thing. This is a Mercedes-Benz opportunity to play in that building. Kirby Smart takes every opportunity he can to probably create more advantage for his team down the line. If Georgia does things well, Josh, they can play in that building 4 times. They can play in this game. They can play in the SEC championship. They can play in the semifinal, and they can play in the national championship. So he's not crazy about things like that. But I will say this: the Georgia-Florida game is another whole discussion. I know Kirby Smart and those people behind the scenes want that game in Athens, but there's about 5 million reasons why it's going to stay in Jacksonville.
All right. Now let's take a look at some of the big names that will be in Atlanta. You got a pair of 5-star plus defensive linemen in Justice Terry and Elijah Griffin. They're both going to be on hand. I mean, it feels like Georgia has this one locked up. It's just a matter of time. Is there any way that UGA could maybe press on these guys to get them on that commit list? Or is Kirby just comfortable just continuing to host them on visits like this?
Yeah, you don't press on those guys. You just let them keep doing what they're doing. You stay consistent, kind of what he did with KJ Bolden last year. Even when KJ Bolden committed to Florida State, he told me the next morning he had a long conversation with Kirby Smart. He said, "I'm not letting up on you." KJ Bolden told me he was very consistent. I think Georgia's just going to stay consistent. They have recruited both of these kids for 3 years. I don't see any reason why either one of them right now, since they've waited through the summer, are going to make a decision anytime soon. But I do think at the end of the day, Josh, both of these 5-star prospects end up in this class for Georgia.
All right, running back Usman Kroma is going to be at this game. That's kind of interesting to me because I've always felt at different times it's either been Florida State or Auburn in terms of where Usman Kroma is trending. Is he still a priority for Georgia, and can they kind of make the waters a little murky around that recruitment if they get involved?
I do think that, and listen, man, he had a great junior year. He had a great sophomore. He had a great freshman year. I just got through watching some of his tape, Josh. It's crazy, some of the stuff you see this guy do at 200-plus pounds running back. And Josh Crawford, the new running back coach at Georgia, who took the job over from Dale McGee. You know where he coached some high school football at recently? At Lee County High School. So obviously he's very connected in that community at that school. I think Georgia has just kind of hung around here, and I would not be surprised to see Georgia turn this notch up on him a couple of times here as the fall starts. This is a guy that I do think that Georgia wants, and I want to see where this thing goes. I think Auburn and Florida State are the two schools, as well as you mentioned there, that would be the biggest competitors. But Josh Crawford having that familiarity with Lee County High School could be kind of an ace in the hole down the stretch.
All right. If Rutgers fans, if you're watching now, you might want to hit fast forward. This might get ugly. We're going to tap back in with these Rutgers flip targets. We talked about it about 2 weeks ago. Chase Linton and Braxton Kyle, they're both also expected to be in Atlanta.
Yep.
Is Georgia still coming after these Scarlet Knight commitments, or has it passed?
Man, I don't know if we can talk about Rutgers right now with that. Listen, the one thing I'll say, if you're Rutgers, you did a hell of a job evaluating these guys, but Georgia knew about them.
Consolation prize.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Georgia knew about them, and those guys came in and worked out. Braxton Kyle started the season off really good as a defensive tackle at North Gwinnett. Not only, Josh, did he pick up Georgia 2 weeks ago, he picked up Texas last week. So things have really went up a couple of notches for him. He is still publicly, verbally committed to Rutgers. Chase Linton, on the other hand, has decommitted from Rutgers. This is a matter of time for me before he ends up a Georgia Bulldog. But, kind of kudos to him. He's taking a step back. He's kind of seeing where things are, and we'll see with this. But I do think this one, he is going to end up in this class at Georgia. They really like him, 6'4", 225-pound edge guy at a North Atlanta high school. He ran 4.5 for Georgia. He's got an 81-inch wingspan. I've had him in a couple of camps. He just kept growing and growing and growing. And at the right time, the last weekend in July, he worked out for that Georgia staff, and they'd seen enough. They made an offer.
Speaking of diamonds in the rough, you found another one. You text me his film. Let's get it up here. You got to watch this. But you got another diamond in the rough, Rusty.
Oh, man. State of Georgia. You look at this guy, 6'5", I think 285 pounds. And this time last year, he was walking the halls at Grayson High School as a basketball player.
How do you say his name? Joseph
Mbache.
Okay.
And Joseph Mbache is a young man from Grayson High School. He is a University of Florida commit. He is playing his first ever high school football games over the season. And when I watched him play on ESPN last week against Thompson, I didn't know his number, but I kept watching this dude absolutely just wreak havoc. I mean, he is absolutely destroying the interior line of a powerhouse football school. I guess Georgia saw that tape as well. Everybody kept their eyes on him. Georgia made an offer earlier this week, and this will be one to watch here as well. He's right up the road, but kind of kudos to Florida. They got him down, worked him out. But, Josh, this kid didn't come out to play football until this past spring. Grayson staff told me, they were like, hey, this guy's walking the hall. He kept adding weight. We were like, man, you need to come out and play some football. Probably got a better chance in doing this than being a 6'5", power forward. And kudos to him, man. He's already up to 285. I talked to their staff this morning. We see this every year, Josh, around the country. About 2 or 3 different kids will kind of pop up, and you see this guy here, Joseph Mbache from Grayson, longtime defensive line coach, former college coach Greg Carswell, man. He told me, listen, I apologize to Coach Carswell. He told me in May, Rusty, I got one. He told me in June, Rusty, I really got one. And then he told me in July, Rusty, you better come over here and see him. Well, Coach, I saw him on TV this week, and you were spot on. This young man he's going to rise continuously. Committed to Florida right now. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, Gators got on him early, but we'll see if the Dogs can make a move. UGA fans, talk to Rusty and I. How we feeling about this game? Give us your prediction for UGA versus Clemson. It should be an exciting one in Atlanta. Lots of recruits there. Let us know. Comment section below. Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.